welcome back to everybody. Appreciate everybody's comments. I want to once again thank our SOF Team Room sponsor, Ghost Professionals Group. Find out more information about them. It's available on our sponsors section of the event website. Check them out. We wouldn't be here without them. And so we're really thankful for everything Ghost Professionals Group has done for us to get the session up and going. All right, we got one more conversation to go. It's a recap session. It's going to bring together a lot of the topics that we talked about today. And then after we turn it over to Chris Free, then Miss Kayla Lehman from the Military Special Operations Family Collaborative is going to say a couple of closing remarks. But for now, Chris, it's all yours. And I let everybody go longer. And as I was joking before he came on, it's your problem to solve. I created it, but you're one of us, so I'm sure you'll figure it out. Don't be late.
Thanks, Fran. Appreciate you. So I think one of the key takeaways I have from just the format is we need more time for each of these sessions. So that'll be something we can figure out for the next one. But so with just maybe about 10 minutes left, throw this out there to everybody on the panel. Key takeaways. Either things that you heard today or things that you want to emphasize or highlight or things you just want to introduce into the discussion. And by the way, feel free to address each other or ask each other questions. So maybe we'll just go with seniority, and Tim, I'll give you the first of the last words.
I saw Marcy shaking her head. I don't think she wants me to talk anymore. Hey, no, it's really good. I think three sort of things that, rang true for me throughout this was, and really, Brian, I was like, I'm not sure where we're going to take the motivation piece of this, but this aspect of the beginning conversation with high performing in the gray zone, and where the force, the active force needs to go, and how do leaders motivate based on what the challenge is in front of us. And I think it's a really, really good topic. Along with that is tied quickly into Jason's piece on brain health and how important, the aspects of unburdening, unpacking along the way, and to get the best cognitive performance out of our operators for all our force, but largely because the challenge is going to be harder. And not only so, how do we get the best performance out of them, but how do we protect them and take care of them along the way? And then the third, kind of set up front, not mentioned throughout the rest of the other discussions, is the continuation of this aspect. And I really thank the Global SOF Foundation for inviting both Marcy and Jesse into the conversation tonight on the family aspect, because it all, all the communities together. I mean, it all builds on itself, and we didn't used to believe this, but they are a huge part of the team, right? And they're a critical silent partner oftentimes in this teaming concept. So those are kind of the key three takeaways for me. Marcy.
Sorry about that. I couldn't hear that. No, I think the biggest takeaway for me was actually, I thought the presentations were great. And I don't know why. I didn't think that I was going to be that affected by them, but I definitely was. It was very interesting, all three presentations.
Hank, Jesse.
Yeah, I'll try to be concise, something that I'm not normally very good at. Yes, appreciate the whole event. Really appreciate how community and motivation really across the force. Again, our past force, our current force, and how we really prepare each other to meet the challenges of the future. And then how we take into account the brain injury side of it, to me, kind of really spoke of health. And if we look at that as a larger umbrella, that being probably the primary concern of the force right now, but broader health, how we manage health in the bigger picture, so that the force of today looks at the force of yesterday and can be trusting that they're going to be looked after and managed. Because again, as I think of the fight of today and of the future, it's going to be decentralized. And as we look at a decentralized fight, then there's less, the nation sees it less, kind of the war in the shadows type thing. And if we're going back to a war in the shadows, then we're not getting that praise and we're not getting that recognition. And so therefore you can start questioning, the value of what you're doing. And so it's imperative that we speak the value of what we're doing to each other. So when there's less voices in the room, we're still confident that what we're doing is right. And I guess that is my takeaway, and I'll let my wife probably say something way more prophetic than I just did.
Yeah, the first two speakers hit it on the head for me. Community and mentors, we need that. Yeah, we need to step up and help each other out. I really appreciated the mentorship that they were speaking about in community. And the brain injury, doctor, oh my goodness, you guys in this room, we need to be thanking for bringing that to the forefront of what our soldiers, our spouses have been affected with. Yeah, thank you for that. We'll be speaking more about that tonight. And Mark Height, I'm pretty sure he came to fifth group. I got to sit in a resiliency and high endurance job week-long. Week-long, what would you call it? Seminar with him and some other. And wow, I still have the notebook. I still have Get in the Car with a Cougar. They showed a Will Ferrell clip, which was what is this doing in resiliency? But it was about fear. Get in the car and do it. And I still say that every day. So if we could get him to come speak at anything, we would be lucky. So thank you guys.
So we're about at time, and I've been told we can have just a few more extra minutes. So anybody else on the panel? Patrick, please.
Yeah, thank you. There's kind of two things. One's a question, so I'll kind of say that for the end. But we talk about mentorship and that, and as part of the last sprint there, talking about motivation and those things. How do you grade performance? It seems like we're always, as a society, we're always in this struggle of how do we grade? How do we find the data? We want more data. Everything's got to be more, right? We want to see, even my kids that are in school, we got to take this statewide testing to see where they're at and how they're progressing. And, it's very important, right? We have an obsession with data, but the other side of that, the folks that we're interviewing that have recently retired Green Berets, they look back on their careers and they say the most important thing I had was mentorship, right? It's not how I got graded on my reviews or how I got rewarded to go to schools and to do different things and different assignments. It was the mentors that took me aside and said, hey, you're doing this wrong. Here's the right way to do it. And whether that be finances or marriage counseling or within the team room, right? So that mentorship piece is, in the civilian world, we talk a lot about emotional intelligence, right? That's the new phrase that's promoted a lot. But how do you have that conversation in the team room? Like, oh, we need to talk about our feelings and have some sort of bonding there, right? But the emotional intelligence piece through mentorship is a much powerful motivator than any reward system, right? Because you don't want to let those other people down. And there's already that essentially in the team room, but to even further improve yourself, to be the best version of yourself is through mentorship, right? And so to segue and not take too much time, but the topic I want to ask Tim and Hank from a senior leader level, also Jason from, a medical standpoint. We're in Texas and there's a lot of conversation about this topic, but you've got former Governor Rick Perry, you've got Representative Crenshaw, and some other veteran organizations, Veterans Exploring Treatment Solutions, and some others that are talking about psychedelic psychotherapies, and the research that's going into that and how that applies. So I just wanted to get you guys' take on that. If you have if those conversations were happening in your spaces, or what research is out there right now.
I'll just jump in. I've been part of conversations. It's a complex landscape just because of the legalities of being able to actively treat individuals. There, to my understanding, my knowledge, a couple of studies ongoing, but those individuals are actually being moved outside of the country for that treatment, and then studied here stateside. If you join us in a month, I'll try and include a couple slides on psychedelics and the advances there. It's not my particular area, but I'd be happy to touch on it at the deep dive. Just a couple quick closing thoughts for me. My 3 wins here are that I didn't bore Marcy, that the Marshes are going to be talking about me at bedtime, and that that I had this opportunity to be here with all of you, and very humbled to have been a part of this event here this evening. And thank you all for your service.
Any other last words? All right.
Yeah,
Thank you,
everybody. Thank you again for having
Brian.
me out. I really do. And to me, the transition discussion is so important. It's something that I think is kind of glossed over in a lot of situations. People don't really pay attention to how hard it is to move from one thing to another. But I really appreciate that discussion, as well as the TBI discussion, because that is something that's a complete culture change in many areas. Athletics is one of them, military is another, stunts is another. Even within the performing arts, there's a guy named Jeff Russell that I've collaborated with at Ohio University that studies brain injuries with performing artists. So it's a topic that is absolutely relevant and important. So thank you all for doing that. And thank you for allowing me to talk about my little thing.
Tim, last word?
Just to echo Patrick's couple comments there. The mentorship, it's really, really key. It is it's one of the things I'm already, missing. I'm going to try to still reach out and do that in transition, but it's contact sport. And the last couple of years, the greatest compliments I got, or, feedback that I got. So mentorship's about feedback. If you're doing it right, and were people that I didn't even know I impacted their life coming up and say something. It wasn't even the direct mentorship. It was almost a tangential mentoringship. But the other point so when you think about the psychedelics, years ago, before TCCC, the Tactical Combat Casualty Course, we didn't do tourniquets, right? How does the single use tourniquet save so many lives and limbs over the last 20 years or freeze? So, that it may come around. This community is really, really huge on anecdotes and not evidence. And so we need evidence-based aspects, but I'm all for, exploring the alternatives as long as they've got sort of a method to their madness. But thanks, everybody. It was great. I know I went long. Sorry.
We've all gone long. That's beautiful. Fran, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you begin the wrap up with Kaylee.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate everybody's time. Appreciate everybody's comments. Really great discussion here, and I appreciate the opportunity myself to be a part of this. This is something really special that we're building here. Everybody talked about community. We serve. We think we go into these roles to do something for ourselves sometimes, and we realize that we're doing it for everybody else. And I think that one of the things when we do transition, how we talked about a lot of transition, one of the things we don't think about is what we leave behind when we leave that community and we're looking in the rearview mirror. And I think every single one of us, it hits us differently when we leave the post for the last time and realize, oh no, everything I know is behind me and I don't know what's next. And then very quickly we realize that we got to rebuild that community. And so I appreciate this organization. I appreciate everything that they're doing for the SOF community. I encourage everyone to continue to join. And thank you all for allowing me to hear your thoughts and learn from you tonight. So I'll turn it over to Kaylee and she'll take it from here. Thank you.
Thanks, Fran. Thanks for leading us tonight. And thank you all for your patience in the run up to this, everything you did to be part of tonight, to be so critical to the conversations happening in the sprints, in our opening panel. CSM, Admiral, Marcy, Jesse, Brian, Jason, Patrick, Daniel. I can't thank you enough. We can't have these conversations without your run up. Chris, you're with us every team room, and we couldn't do it without you. You lead these conversations and keep the voice focused and at a level everybody can participate, families and service members. We were beyond thrilled to have our spouses participate tonight. We've been aiming for that since we kicked off last November. And we're so glad to have you with us tonight and participating. And thank you to our partners at Global SOF. We love partnering with you at this event. The Military Special Operations Family Collaborative, we're a public health initiative for the special operations community. And we exist to bring about systemic gaps and barriers facing special operations families, service members, and vets. If it weren't for these conversations, our partnerships, work with commands, senior leaders, past and present, we couldn't do this great work. And please reach out through the survey that you'll get a link to and follow-up email and give us all the feedback you got, because we do the best we can to incorporate it and make this event better every quarter. If you loved the health sprint with Jason, please register for our health deep dive. It follows 1 month after our SOF team room. And it's focused, but we do everything we can to field all of your questions. If we don't get to them in the event, we cover them in a recap that gets emailed. And all these resources become part of a living community of knowledge that's available to everyone in the community. So thank you for tuning in with us tonight. We hope you have a lovely night and enjoyed this team room. Thanks.